Nico drew his sword, but Riordan knocked it out of his hand. Before I could get up, Orpheus pounced on my chest and growled. His face is an inch away from mine. "I would stay in the car, all of you," Gran warned, "or Orpheus will tear Mr. Jackson's throat out. Now, Riordan, if you would be so kind, secure Nico." The cowherd spit into the grass. "Do I have to?" "Yes, you fool." Riordan looked bored, but he wrapped one huge arm around Nico and lifted it up like a wrestler. "Pick up the sword, too," Gran said with distaste. "There's nothing I hate worse than sticking iron." Riordan picked up the sword, careful not to touch the blade. "Now," Gran said cheerfully, "we've had the tour. Let's go back to the lodge and have some lunch and send an Iris message to our friends in the Titan army." "You fiend!" Annabeth cried. Gran smiled at her. "Don't worry, my dear. Once I've delivered to Mr. D'Angelo, you and your party can go. I don't interfere with quests. Besides, I've been paid well to give you safe passage, which does not, I'm afraid, include Mr. D'Angelo." "Paid by whom?" Annabeth said. "What do you mean?" "Never you mind, darling. Let's be off, shall we?" "Wait," I said, and Orpheus growled. I stayed perfectly still so that way he wouldn't tear my throat out. "Gran, you said you're a businessman. Make me a deal." Gran's eyes narrowed. "What sort of deal? Do you have gold?" "I have something better. Barter." "But, Mr. Jackson, you've got nothing." "You could have him clean out the stables," Riordan suggested innocently. "I'll do it," I said. "If I fail, you get all of us. Trade us all to Luke for gold." "Assuming the horses don't eat you," Gran observed. "Either way, you've got my friends," I said. "But if I succeed, you've got to let us all go, including Nico." "No!" Nico screamed. "Don't do me favors, Percy. I don't want your help." Gran chuckled. "Percy Jackson, those stables haven't been cleaned out in 1,000 years. Though it's true I might be able to sell more stable space if all that poop was cleared away." "So what have you got to lose?" The rancher hesitated. "All right, I'll accept your offer, but you have to get it done by sunset. If you fail, your friends get sold and I get rich." "Deal." He nodded. "I'm going to take your friends with me back to the lodge. We'll wait for you there." Riordan gave me a funny look. It might have been sympathy. He whistled, and the dog jumped off me and onto Annabeth's lap. She yelped. I knew Tyson and Grover would never try anything as long as Annabeth was a hostage. I got out of the car and locked eyes with her. "I hope you know what you're doing," she said quietly. "I hope so, too." Gran got back behind the driver's wheel. Riordan hauled Nico into the back seat. "Sunset," Gran reminded me. "No later." He laughed at me once more, sounded his cowbell horn, and the Moomobile rumbled off down the trail. Chapter 9. I Scoop Poop. I lost hope when I saw the horse's teeth. As I got closer to the fence, I held my shirt over my nose to block the smell. One stallion waded through the muck and whinnied angrily at me. He bared his teeth, which were pointed like a bear's. I tried to talk to him in my mind. I can do that with most horses. "Hi," I told him. "I'm gonna clean your stables. Won't that be great?" "Yes," the horse said. "Come inside. Eat you. Tasty half-blood." "But I'm Poseidon's son," I protested. "He created horses." Usually this gets me the VIP treatment in the equestrian world, but not this time. "Yes," the horse said, agreed. "Poseidon can come in too. We'll eat you both. Seafood." "Seafood!" The other horses chimed in as they waded through the field. Flies were buzzing everywhere, and the heat of the day didn't make the smell any better. I'd had some idea that I could do this challenge because I remembered how Hercules had done it. He channeled a river into the stables and cleaned them out that way. I figured I could maybe control the water, but if I couldn't get close to the horses without getting eating, that would be a problem. And the river was downhill from the stables, a lot farther away than I'd realized, almost half a mile. The problem with the poop looked a lot bigger up close. I picked up a rusted shovel and experimentally scooped some away from the fence line. Great, only 4 billion shovelfuls to go. The sun was already sinking. I had a few hours at best. I decided the river was my only hope. At least it'd be easier to think at the riverside than it was here. I set off downhill. When I got to the river, I found a girl waiting for me. She was wearing jeans and a green t-shirt, and her long brown hair was braided with river grass. She had a stern look on her face. Her arms were crossed. "Oh, no, you don't," she said. I stared at her. "Are you a naiad?" She rolled her eyes. "Of course." "But you speak English, and you're out of the water." "Well, you don't think we can act human if we don't want to?" I'd never thought about it. I kind of felt stupid, though, because I'd seen plenty of naiads at camp, and they'd never done much more than giggle and wave at me from the bottom of the canoe lake.